come to town. Aaron, the Senate subcommittee now says they're not going to let the president's charges of wiretapping slide, which is interesting because you got to figure that Senate subcommittee is composed of both Republicans and Democrats. You can imagine the Democrats want to do this, but for the Republicans to say, we need to look into this closer, is that a surprise to you?
Well, I think they would be interested if, in fact, the president's assertions are true, that President Obama somehow abused his authority in order to wiretap at Trump Tower for political purposes. And the two senators who wrote the letter, Graham, a Republican of South Carolina, and Whitehouse, a Democrat of Rhode Island, said that they would take any abuse of wiretapping authorities for political purposes very seriously. They also said they would be equally alarmed to learn that a court found enough evidence of criminal activity or contact with a foreign power to legally authorize a wiretap of President Trump or Trump Tower. So either way, the senators are interested in getting to the bottom of this. So far, there's been no evidence of any wiretap. There's also been no evidence of any collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. And so where the president's tweet came from on a Saturday morning, no one is still sure. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly was dispatched to CNN, where he said if the president tweeted that, well, he's got his reasons to say it. We just don't know what the reasons are.
Aren't these subcommittees places where things like this go to die or get dragged out for years?
Well, they could, or they could not. And look, the senators said they're prepared to subpoena records from the Justice Department and the FBI if necessary, so it seems like they want to get this done. The White House certainly wants Congress to investigate and struggled to say why the president didn't just go to the FBI director and ask. I mean, look, President Trump has access to all the nation's secrets now. He, in theory, should know whether there was a wiretap of his phones, but he has declined to ask, the White House said, and the White House prefers Congress to do the investigating. But it does put the White House in something of a conundrum, because if the tweets are to be believed, well, then President Obama would be in a lot of trouble. Now, all of that has been denied, so the conundrum for the White House is either the president's assertions are baseless, or he implicated himself in a government investigation, because for a court to actually authorize a wiretap would necessitate a court believing there's evidence of some wrongdoing there.
Well, this whole thing got started, and correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline, this got started with a really conservative talk show host, a radio talk show host, and where he got the information from remains to be seen. Breitbart picked up on it. The president reads Breitbart, and then he blew up either Friday afternoon or Saturday morning and started tweeting away, much to the chagrin of his staff. So I guess to get to the bottom of this is going to require a lot of digging on the part of the Senate subcommittee.
In some sense, yes, but also if there either was a wiretap or there wasn't. So if they start there, and then they can figure out whether it was court-ordered or whether it was somehow surreptitious and nefarious. And I think in some ways it's a rather easy investigation. The wiretap either existed or it didn't. And if it did, then a court would have had to have signed off on it, and they would have had to have believed that there was some evidence of either collusion or wrongdoing or something in order to sign off.
Is there a kind of a timeline on this as of right now, or is this just all in the formative stages and more to come?
Yeah, more to come for sure. The formal request for information from Justice and the FBI came yesterday in this letter, and we'll see what the response is.
Okay, if it comes out of the subcommittee and they say we have reason to believe, then it would have to go to a higher committee, if I'm remembering. This is how a bill is passed.
No. I mean, look, the investigation will be what it will be, and they'll reach a conclusion, and they'll say either there was a wiretap or there wasn't. The president's tweets are wrong, or and then I guess the chips fall. But this isn't anything other than an inquiry. So no other committee needs to take this up. Some may, but there's no legislation that's tied with this at the moment.
And I have several friends of mine who are extremely liberal, and this to them is the smoking gun that the president lied and blah blah blah, and they're already rumbling impeachment. And I keep saying I can't see that happening at this stage of the game by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe mistakes were made, but perhaps not impeachable.
Oh, I don't think anyone's talking about impeachment, at least in this regard. And I think that the question is, the president of the United States made an explosive allegation accusing his predecessor of criminal conduct. So that's one thing. Then by implication, his tweet suggested that the FBI followed in a legal order and conducted illegal surveillance, seemingly for political purposes. So those are untenable things, and that's where I think people want to know the true answer.
Aaron, I appreciate you spending time with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Okay, good day.